Today we're back on the Ferrari and I wanted to show you something really interesting. Take a look at this. I have a little camera mount here and here is the muffler out of the Ferrari. You can see that's metal. This is a magnet base and it doesn't stick to the exhaust system. So that means that is aluminum. Very interesting. The thing weighs got to be 50 plus 60 pounds. I'll have to weigh this thing. But yeah, that housing, even back here, the tube that goes to, okay, back here. Oh no, that's another piece of the, yeah, that tube that goes up and connects, that's all aluminum. Very interesting. So the interior must be steel passageways, but the exterior, completely aluminum. Anyway, let's get back to work. Alright, let's just start with some simple stuff. Get the air intake tube and the air filter box off. Oh, that's been on there for a while. That's completely deteriorated. I'm gonna need a new one of those. Nice clean K&N filter though. Very nice. So this is the butterfly that opens and closes for the fuel injection right here. And that was stuck. I had to actually press that down kind of hard. This whole thing's got to be cleaned out. It's just filthy. But alright, let's figure out how to get this off. Okay, looks like it just slides off. And then we got an air hose down below, which is super loose. Now all these are just air vacuum line. Well, that's not a vacuum leak, but you know, you can see that it's just all cracked and terrible. Alright, so hell, we didn't even need to open up the air box. We're learning. Interestingly, the side scoop, which feeds the air intake, is actually a double scoop. And you can see one down there. And I wonder if that just puts cool air into the engine compartment, or if that's supposed to have a ducting on it somewhere that goes through something. I have to look into that. But that's interesting. I actually looked down inside there and put my hand down inside there, and that is a double functioning scoop from the side air intake. Very interesting. I think the next thing we're going to do is take off the spark plug wires and distributor caps. So there are two distributor caps on this car, one on each bank, which will make this thing super fun to time later. I don't think there's really much to be afraid of. Really hard to see where anything is. Par for the course on this car. It's just so tight in here. I mean, remember, this car is smaller than a Toyota MR2. So stuffing a V8 with a double overhead cam, which makes this thing big. You know, this, I can't say this is the size of like a Ford Coyote, but I mean, it's along the same lines, you know. All right, let's get that out of here. Coil wires. And out we come. There's one. Second one. All right, there's our disconnect, coil, and wires. So you can see the dual distributors right there. I'll have to get that rotor off of there. I think the next thing we're going to try and do is get this here smog pump off. This thing it's just going to be a pain in the ass, I think. It goes to these lines. There's some in the front and the back, and those thread into the top of the header. You can see these tubes down here. So I'm thinking either, hopefully this whole rack will come out with the headers when they come out. When the time comes, the whole fuel injection's got to come out. Gonna have to figure that out. And then front and rear, I'm pretty sure this just unbolts from somewhere and comes out with the header. But now let's see if we can figure out how to disconnect this hose. Looks like a hard line going to a soft line down there, maybe. And then take that smog pump out. Okay, so we got a coolant line here. Looks like that's part of the probably warm-up procedure. Goes over here to some little electronic box. Probably part of the warm-up procedure. Some sensors. We'll just take that off and we'll just leave it with the smog pump because that's going back on. Nice little cute little belt. I want to take this water filler off because it's just not giving me much space here. Let's get photographs of where all this stuff goes, and then I'm going to take this out. Wow, that sucker is tight. Wow, man. Okay. Jesus Christ, man. I'll tell you what. These things are tight. Definitely fluid in here. Got a picture. Cutting it off now, and we'll take the rest later. This most likely is going to bring coolant. That's probably going to be an issue. Okay. definitely full of fluid. All right, got it. Okay, way more space to move around, access these hoses down here, and get to this smog pump. Let's see if we can get this hose down here. Oh yeah, much easier without that damn thing in the way. So, and then down here we got bits from the smog system, which are already loose from when we took the exhaust out, so that's cool. Looks like we just gotta take one 10mm off. Let's get a picture of that. So let's get the smog pump out of the way. Ugh, that sounds like might have to have that rebuilt. So far, like, nothing is ridiculously tight or corroded or so stuck on that I'm having to put ridiculous amounts of effort into it. I'm not really tearing anything up. Okay. And I say that just as this bolt now doesn't want to come out. Just take this out of here for right now so I can see what I'm doing. So from this side, you can see the bolt is sticking through, but this whole thing is in the way, so I can't really tap it with a hammer, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. Put the nut back on there so if I'm tapping on it. Not much space though. There we go. Okay. Bingo. All right. Much more space over here now. And you can really see these lines and how they go down into the top of the exhaust system, which I'm going to have to get loose. Looks like that will probably come out with the headers. They just need to be freed up and cleared out of the way for when the engine comes up, because the headers are remaining in the car when I pull the engine out. If I pull the engine out, you know, an option, if I'm going to take the intake off and I'm going to try taking this head off. If this head comes off easy, then that head will come off, and I'll contemplate taking the whole bottom end out. Bottom of the engine and transmission out. One of the things I was really most interested in is whether I could do some of the seals that were in the bottom of the engine while the engine's in the car. And following Project 308, I was able to see that it is possible to do. It'd be not very much fun being on my back doing it, but it can be done. There's a shifter linkage that goes through the engine and transmission that has some O-rings in it that need to be sealed, and of course the bottom pan needs to be resealed. But those are things that I can do with it in the car. Obviously it needs to be cleaned, man. This thing is a grease bucket, man. Absolutely. 40 years old. To my knowledge, you know, this engine may have been out for an early service. When I got my service done last at 60,000 miles, it stayed in the car. So, you know, you can do belts in the car, and it stayed in the car. So, but the head's got to come off, so I may try taking this back head out first. If it's stuck on there, well, we'll go from there. But we'll see. It looks like the next thing I need to do is remove the fuel injection right here. So undo all these banjos And then there's a mounting point here and 2 on the other side. See if I can get this large nut down here in a funky spot. Oh, shit. Well, that ain't even tight. Good and bad. I mean, bad that it's loose, but, you know, not having to fight it or risk stripping it or tearing stuff up is pretty good. All right. Jeez. All right. And the mount for that's broken. So that completely comes out, possibly. Bingo. Part of the exhaust system. So that's where that went. So this must have been the heater, because this is getting coolant and exhaust. So this has got to be part of the preheater for the to heat the fuel for the warm-up circuit. Interesting. Okay, all the banjo lines loose, fuel lines loose, whatever that air line is loose, and I'm down to just one nut right here, and this whole thing is loose and then coming out. So let's do that. Fuel injection out, and you can really see how much space we got in here now. Whole back of the engine's clear. These all will come off when I take the intake manifold off. That's coming. Got to figure out how this comes out. I have a feeling it's bolted in under the car and through the wheel well, so I'm going to have to get that tire off, the wheel well out. Those are just fiberglass. They come out pretty easy. But we're making headway. Well, that's going to do it for this week. We got some parts out of the car. It's a slow process. Now I'm going to start cleaning those bits up, probably get them boxed up because it's going to be a while. I'm going to clean out that fuel injection, get that all sprayed clean. I'm really glad that that is not all gummed up. It has liquid fuel in it. It's nasty, it smells, but it's not goo, and that's great. So I'm going to spray all that out with carb cleaner and get everything all cleaned and detailed and put in tubs, put on the shelf, get it all labeled, and then we're on to the next bit. Anyway, if you find any of this interesting, helpful, or just entertaining, please consider liking and subscribing and giving me a thumbs up. Definitely appreciate it. Maybe pick up a t-shirt. I got some new designs. I just ordered one myself, and you'll see it coming up. Anyway, see you in the next episode. Peace.